Hey, what's going on YouTube? I am Jonathan and back with another video that I'm very excited about. Today we're going to be talking about my Smith & Wesson 500 mag. So there is a really funny story about why why I purchased this gun. But let me go ahead and do a safety check and then we can get into it, all right? So this it is empty, and this would eject any shells that were in the gun, right? So first off, I'll let you guys take a look at it, and this is a heavy gun, right? As you would expect, it's definitely built like a tank. But let me jump right into what motivated me to get this particular gun in the first place. So there was a movie that I was watching one day. It was 50 Cent was in it, and he was a gun dealer, and this was the gun that he carried. This particular model with a 3.5-inch barrel. This was the particular gun that he carried, and the reason that he gave in the movie was that it exemplified power, right? He was talking about how far it would knock someone back if you actually shot it, etc., etc. And I was saying to myself, I was like, that gun really can't exist. You know, they must have made it up for the movie or something like that. This is when I was, you know, my initial years as far as being interested in guns, or you know, kind of thinking about guns and things of that sort. So when I saw the movie, I was really kind of interested. So when I saw this gun in particular, I said to myself, it can't really exist. Let me try to find out if it exists. I get online, I'm looking up this gun, it actually exists. So I'm like, okay, wait, I have to have that gun, right? So I'm calling around for a few days. I found two of these that were used at the time, and I was saying to myself, well, I really don't want a used version of it. I wanted to get a brand new one, so I kept calling around. A few days later, I found one that was out of state that I had shipped to a store here, and I went ahead and picked it up. I was absolutely ecstatic when I initially picked it up. I'm still excited about it to this day. So let's talk about it for just a little bit. So this is a rubberized grip. This is actually the actual Smith & Wesson grip. You can see the Smith & Wesson logo there. Hope you guys can see that. Yeah, so you can see the Smith & Wesson logo there, and I'll get it closer. So, and this is a double action. This is actually a double action revolver. So you can bring the hammer back just by squeezing the trigger. You don't have to, as you do in single action revolvers, you don't have to pull the hammer back, but of course you can, right? And if you all can notice, so if you all notice, the trigger goes back really, really far, which felt really strange initially. But as I shot this gun more and more, I definitely got used to that particular aspect of it. If you start off with the hammer not cocked back, it feels almost like maybe a 7 pound pull, 6.5, something around there. I don't actually have a tester to test the pounds on the trigger. I may have to go pick up one of those. But the gun really shoots well. It really shoots well. And I've actually never adjusted the sights. So out of the box, the sights were pretty accurate. Now I do have to admit, when I initially shot this, I was not ready for the recoil that this particular gun had. There's a really funny story attached to me shooting this for the first time. So let me tell you about that really quickly. So I went to an outdoor range, and I wanted to go to an outdoor range because this was when I was first starting out shooting. Didn't really know a lot about different gun ranges and things of that sort. So I was like, nobody's gonna let me shoot this cannon inside, right? I was like, nobody's gonna let me shoot that inside. So I go to an outdoor range, and at this outdoor range, I pay and I set up my target and everything, and then I finally take this out of the box. So I load up this this gun, and I aim it out, right? I'm aiming and I take a shot. And this is a Saturday morning, right? So there are probably 30 or 40 different areas where people can shoot all the way down this line, right? So at the very, very end, there are people shooting rifles. In between me and, the people shooting rifles are, quite a few people. I think there were maybe 3 bays that weren't actually taken up that day with people shooting handguns, right? So pretty much all of the handgun bays were full, right? So I take my first shot. There's an older gentleman and his grandson on the left hand side of me, right on the left hand side of me, shooting a 22, and I remember them vividly because of what happens next. So I pulled I aim, align the sights, I pull the trigger. This thing goes off, and like I say, I wasn't ready for the recoil, and I didn't let it go or anything like that, but it was just, it kicked a lot harder than I thought it would, right? The recoil was a lot more than I thought it would be, but I did have a good grip on the gun. But everyone stopped shooting. Everyone stopped shooting. They thought that there was some type of misfire or someone's gun exploded or something of that sort, but no, that was not the case at all. It was just the fact that this shoots a 50 caliber bullet and it has a 3.5-inch barrel. It's really, really loud for sure. So that was kind of funny, being at a gun range where everyone's shooting. I shoot one time and everything stops, right? The guy on the left hand side of me, him and his grandson had hopped all the way back past the yellow line that you stand behind when someone's going down range to change a target or something of that sort, right? So that was kind of comical to me, that this was that loud. I really wasn't planning on it being that loud. I almost felt like for a moment that I didn't have, earphones on, right? Or protective earbuds, and I had on the ear muffs as well, the protective ear muffs. So I had the foam ones that you put in your ear, and I had the ear muffs, and it was still loud. It was still really, really loud to me. So that was pretty funny. And once they found out what I was shooting, everyone was like, "Oh my God, okay, that makes sense then." But that was my first experience shooting this particular pistol, and I really enjoy it. I really like it. I still go shoot it to this day. I really don't shoot it much though, so I can't say that I shoot it a lot or anything of that sort. But when I do take this out and shoot it, it's definitely a conversation starter. But I just really like it. You know what I mean? I don't think it's practical, of course, to carry. Because at that point, you would be worried about what's behind, what I'm shooting at, right? Because this will go through quite a few things. But it's just, something nice to have. I think, something that you can definitely pass down. Just overall a good piece of machinery for sure. But now, the exciting part. It is range time. Let's go do it.
Here we go. All right. S&W 500. Let's see what she can do. It's a pretty she goes. There she goes. We'll get to the rest in a second. Not even sure how many I did. You go nuts. We'll go ahead and try for the lower target. So, full disclosure, I actually never sighted this gun in. It's pretty on point. You know, the only thing that you have to kind of be mindful of is, you know, tenting up when you're about to shoot. So. She's a beast. Yeah. So, just a side note, this gun, if you could tell, is really heavy. It's really heavy, but it would probably stop a truck. Couple more rounds. All right. Let's go ahead and I'll go back to the top. I'll go back to the top. Okay, now I will admit you will definitely flinch sometimes when you shoot this. That's a wrap. I hope you guys had as much fun as I just had. That's a W500. She is a monster.